3 months after finishing third in the NASCAR Cup Series championship race at Phoenix Raceway, Kyle Larson was back at the track this week, but in a very different car. Hi, I'm American Cars and Racing Executive Editor Gary Gastelou, and this is a car report. Kyle Larson, he's going to try to do double duty this year by competing in the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 on the same day. Last year he got in a few laps at Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Arrow McLaren he'll be driving, but on Monday this week he finished a session at Phoenix Raceway in the car. And while the tracks are very different, he said that's a good thing because it gave him a different perspective on how it handles in different situations. Here's what he had to say after the test.
It was good to get some laps at a different place, a kind of fast-paced, track. Obviously the car is a lot different than what was ran here in 2018, so don't really know, how my driving style was in reference to like what somebody who races these things every weekend would be like, but I felt like I got comfortable enough to where we finally kind of found the edge there, and I almost spun out off a turn, IndyCar turn 2, our NASCAR's turn 4, so that was good, to have a moment like that. Had a few moments.
Larson said a couple of the big things he's going to need to work on is getting used to the IndyCar lingo, where they say things like oversteer and understeer instead of tight and loose to describe the way the car handles, plus the pit stop procedures, which are different, a little more complicated in the IndyCar. But maybe the most surprising thing is that he said the cars felt more alike than he expected. A lot of that having to do with the new NASCAR Next Generation chassis, which has an independent suspension, underbody downforce, and other features that the old Cup Series cars didn't have. That makes it feel more like a sports car.
It feels, at least yesterday, it felt a lot like a next gen Cup car. The way that just the grip of the tire felt like when I turn the wheel to a point and get past the slip of the tire, like the sidewall, I felt like it all felt really similar to the Cup car. You're just going faster. It feels like you go into Phoenix with, like when I was just there testing, a couple months ago in the Cup car, we added downforce. The conditions were cooler, and the amount of mid-corner speed and stuff you carried, it all felt pretty relative to me and very similar. So I don't think they're as far apart from each other as what the previous model NASCAR Cup Series car was like, or what an Xfinity car might be like. Those are quite a bit different than a next gen car. I feel like these new cars have really transitioned to an IndyCar. Even adjustments that we made yesterday, they weren't telling me the adjustments that they made these few times, but I went out and I was like, oh, that felt looser on entry, and they're like, okay. And then we made another change, and I was like, that just, I felt like I was out of the track, less grip there. And the first change, I think they raised the back of the car up, and that made me loose in, and that would have made me loose in the Cup car. The next run, they raised the front up to kind of match the rear, and that's when I said I was, had less grip, and I'm pretty sure that's what that adjustment would have felt like in a Cup car as well. So between the underbody and all that, and the mechanics of the car, I feel like our stock cars now are much similar. So I guess where I'm getting at is I hope that it makes the transition between the two simpler than what it would have been 4 or 5 years ago.
Larson won't get another shot in the IndyCar until the month of May in Indianapolis, but he will be back on track in his Cup Series car next week for the Daytona Duels at the Daytona International Speedway on February 15th and the Daytona 500 on Sunday, February 18th. And if you want to follow all the action from there, stay tuned to this YouTube channel and head over to AmericanCarsAndRacing.com every day for the latest automotive and racing news.